Hey guys, Chris and Elena here. We're at CES where one of the really big buzzwords is 4K. And now even some folks are coming out with 8K. What I want to talk about right now is it worth it? Is it enough? Is it enough to change? 4K stuff is becoming a little bit more prevalent and a little cheaper here. But
yeah, I mean, we're seeing TVs come down underneath that, like, usually that magical threshold of $1,000 is when you start seeing, like, consumers really start to pick things up off the shelves and, like, actually adopt them.
Yeah, so let's talk about it. Like, for anybody who's, like, total layperson here, what's 4K? What's great about 4K?
Okay, so 4K is basically a reference to the measurement of, like, how many horizontal pixels you have across the display. So 4K is really like horizontally is like 3,840 pixels. Like you know, they just kind of round it up, say it's 4K, which is 4 times 1080.
Right.
So
which is well, there's all those delineations. It's like HD and then real HD or there's so many like different ways of talking about this. But 4K is roughly 4 times HD.
Right. Or full HD, sorry. So there's all those acronyms, right? So 720 was HD, 1080 is full HD, and now 4K is Ultra HD.
And we've read also that people are starting to call 8K
I'm not sure if this is the official term, but I have seen some people refer to 8K as full Ultra HD.
FUHD. Anyway, so.
Right, and so this is important though. The reason why pixels are so important is that the more you have, the closer they are together, the more it represents what like your eye naturally sees in real life, like what if we're staring at this camera, for example. You're not going to see like jaggies and pixels.
So we've seen a bunch of 4K stuff. We saw it last year. We're seeing more of it this year and more consumer-facing stuff, obviously. There's, camcorders. There's all that stuff that is like hitting the market for 4K. Even action cams. Sony unveiled that at their conference. But what it's not. It doesn't seem to me to be the difference between something like SD and HD.
Right.
It's like a little bit more nuanced.
Right, because there's a certain point where the human eye actually can't really tell the difference anymore. Like, so, I mean, I think your question really is, like, is 8K worth it, right? We're seeing these conceptual, like, prototypes on the floor. They're not talking about release dates, obviously. They just have them up. And I went to Panasonic's demonstration of this. And, you look at it, and I'm looking at their clip of the Beijing Olympics. And I'm like, that looks great. Yeah, I can kind of see the detail. But you can just really start to see those details with 4K, too. And we're not even seeing content, really, for 4K. Right?
Although they're starting to announce some stuff, Netflix is getting into it. But, it kind of strikes me as like right now it's in the nascent stages, kind of like when 3D TVs were becoming a thing.
Or even when 1080 started.
Right, and they were doing 3D programming, and you were like, what can I even watch on this,
Right.
So, 4K is going to take some time to get traction. 8K is so far off, I don't even know that it's even a thing right now.
It's far off, and I'm not actually sure it's going to be really good for like a consumer like movie watching experience.
Right.
Like it was interesting that Panasonic demo because they started with like the pictures and the movie clip, and then they moved to like actually having this display flat out, and like you were using it as this gigantic display. But for like looking at
Minority
spreadsheets,
Report kind of thing.
I wish it was touchscreen, but it was like spreadsheets and schematics and maps and like those kind of commercial applications actually might be worthwhile to have the 8K display, so you can actually fit all this data into one display, so you're not like having to scroll and like see what's going on with that screen. But with that many pixels for just like sitting and watching like, I don't know, Star Trek, like do you really need that many is really still the question. And they were talking about pixels, like you can't see pixels. I stepped forward and I'm like, no, I can still see those pixels if you look closely.
I think to some degree a lot of consumer technology is about keeping up with the Joneses or being the person who has the best thing on the block or anything like that. So, there's like these catchphrases that come out and people are like, 4K, I need 4K, I need 4K. And I'm sure that's going to be the thing coming out of this one. It's like everybody's going to run out and get their sub $1,000 4K TV now. But
and then they'll watch like House of Cards and like nothing else. And it probably is going to go, skip, because like most people, at least in the United States here, broadband is kind of uneven.
We don't have the best broadband in America, people.
Nope.
It's just not the best.
It's sad.
Especially with throttling now. So that's also a concern, if you're streaming actual 4K technology, it's a little bit, you're going to have to contend with outside factors. Okay, so what's your verdict? Is 4K worth it?
4K, if you're early adopter type, maybe you're going to have some wait still. If you're the kind of person that just wants to watch everything now, no.
Yeah, for me, like content perspective wise, there's not enough out there for me to adopt yet.
Yeah.
I think I will want it eventually when there's more stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
But right now, I'm going to opt out, and 8K.
8K, no. I think it's cool as a concept, but I don't think it's really ready for prime time for, like, I don't know, at least 5 to 10 years.
Right.
What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, CES 2020, we'll be talking about
yeah,
8K.
8K displays right here.
So much. All right, for all things 4K, 8K, CES, stay tuned to IGN. We'll have more.